This is just a quick reminder that my Golden Boo embroidered merch is still going to be up for a couple more weeks. It comes in hoodies, zip-ups, sweaters, and t-shirts. Go ahead and hit that link in the description if that's something you're interested in. It really supports my channel. Yeah. What is going on, guys, and welcome back to another Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon Wi-Fi battle. Today I have another PU match. This is featuring the same badass team that I've been using. This will actually be the last game with this team just because these homies need some rest. I mean, they've been putting in the finest of work. Love this because his back hurts from putting the team on his back so much. But yeah, so this is against Yui from Twitter, and looking at my opponent's team, definitely got some pretty big threats. I'm really worried about the Regice. That thing's just an absolute special defense wall. Then he's got some really fast, hard-hitting stuff like the Kadabra and the Haunter. I'm also worried about the Magmortar because that thing definitely puts in work against my team, and also this is a guy because every guy uses the female character, so he will be referred to as a him. So let's go ahead and get into the battle here. So I'm just going to lead off with the Beard. I do want to send out Wormadam just to get my rocks up because it is going to be useful. I do really want to whittle down that Magmortar, and that thing takes a decent amount upon switching into rock. So he actually ends up leading off with Woolsmith, which is actually a nickname of one of my Furfroos, which is awesome. But they're actually going to waste no time, and he actually decides to switch into the Magmortar directly on the matchup against the Wormadam, which is no good for me. I do get those rocks up though, and that's looking nice because those are probably going to hang around for the remainder of the match, so that's good. The only thing I really have to switch into Magmortar is going to be my Chimecho. So I bring this thing in on a Flame Charge, so that shows me that this thing does want to get some speed. He's going to get that one speed boost, but it's looking like I can still take a Fire Blast here, so I was actually kind of thinking that he would stay in and try to go for an attack, so I decided to just go for a Thunder Wave. If I could get that on the Magmortar, it would make my life a whole lot easier later, but in comes the freaking Iceberg. And the T-Wave is going to land on that thing instead. It actually turns out to be pretty nice having this thing paralyzed, as you'll see later. But this is actually a solid matchup for me because this allows me to pretty much freely set up my light screen, which I do need if this team wants to do anything because I'm frail as shit. And like I said before, I definitely need some screens on this team. So that thing actually ends up getting fully parried there. I don't know what this thing wants to go for. It doesn't really, I'm assuming probably Toxic or something along the lines of that, but once I get that light screen up, I figure I probably don't need Reflect, kind of looking at the matchup, and I'm just going to switch right into my Delcatty here, as he's actually going to make a double switch, and he decides to go into the Kadabra. So this is an interesting matchup. The only way I die is if he goes for Focus Blast, and actually ends up going for the Psychic, maybe thinking that would be enough, but Useless is able to take that nicely, and a Double Edge is actually going to knock this thing out. I kind of expected it to be Focus Sash. I could have then gone for Sucker Punch. I actually think I could have just killed it with Sucker Punch to begin with, but that's awesome. So down goes the Kadabra, and that's a pretty damn big threat out of the way. So unfortunately, Delcatty did lose a ton of health there, so I'm just going to stay in here and go for one more Double Edge on the Furfrou as I get a solid amount of damage. And, you know, Useless was not that useless today, so that's fun stuff. That thing actually ends up going for a Cotton Guard as I kill myself to the recoil, and that's going to raise its defense drastically, but it's below half, and I do have a solid special attacker, and you already know that Love Disc is about to come in and take some fucking lives. So, Gadnik the Destroyer comes in. I'm actually able to hit another Hydro Pump. This is the only Pokemon I've ever owned that never misses a Hydro Pump. I swear to God, I've used this thing in a ton of battles, and it never misses that. So the Hydro Pump is going to take care of the Furfrou, and that's a decent wall out of the way. So things are going pretty nicely here. As in comes the Torterra, and I do want to save Love Disc because it's pretty fast, and with the specs, it's going to hit hard on a lot of his team. So he's actually going to end up going for the Rock Polish there, which is actually kind of scary because a fast Torterra is a scary Torterra. So he's now going to go for an Earthquake, but the Beard is pretty damn physically defensive. I'm able to take less than half from that, which is awesome, and this allows me to hit this thing with a Toxic. So this Wormadam's role on this team is at this point to pretty much just get as much damage off on this Torterra as I can before dying, and I don't really need this thing all that much for anything other than really the Torterra. And that's because they don't really have a whole lot of physical attackers left, so I'm just going to stay in here and go for a Gyro Ball, as in comes the Magmortar here yet again, my freaking arch nemesis. Every team you play against ends up having a Magmortar. These things are just too damn good, but so that's not going to do too much damage, although with the Stealth Rock damage and that Gyro Ball, this thing's looking like I might be able to take it out later, as the light screen is going to wear off there. And interestingly enough, he actually decides to go for the Flame Charge here, which I'm able to take because it is a physical attack. Even though I'm 4 times weak to fire, I'm able to beast through that, and I'm able to get a Toxic off on this thing, which is awesome. So it does have that +1 speed boost, which is kind of scary, But I get that Toxic on it, and now I can pretty much just go for a Protect, stall out as much damage as possible here before I end up going down. Wormadam is definitely useless over here, so I do go for the Protect, hanging on my safety tree, as I'm just doing my annoying Wormadam thing, you know, just pretty much just stalling out some damage here. So eating some leftovers, kind of enjoying my last meal here, as I know I'm going to go down. And it is kind of surprising that I was able to live that flame charge. I honestly expected to die. But then again, Magmortar definitely doesn't have any physical attack investment. That's pretty much just there for the speed boost. So I tried to go for a double protect just for shenanigans, but it didn't work. And the Thunderbolt is going to knock me out there. So I'm actually just going to switch into my Scarf Swanna here. I figure since that thing only got a +1 speed boost, I should still be able to outspeed, especially with the Scarf. And that is exactly what happens, as a Brave Bird is going to take this thing out. So Scarf Swanna comes in clutch yet again, and I'm honestly having a whole lot of fun using this thing. Freaking Hurricane Katrina is a beast. So on the free switch here, he decides to go into the Regice, and I figured, hey, you know, these things don't have the best physical attack. It's probably invested though. But I'm just going to stay in and go for a Brave Bird regardless. I don't really have a whole lot else to switch into here. So I go for that, as it ends up doing like pretty much freaking nothing. And that allows it to go ahead and toss a Thunderbolt at me. I'm 4 times weak to that, so that is going to knock me out. But Swanna goes down. That is kind of a bummer. Honestly, I expected more damage from that Brave Bird, but no big deal, because this allows me a free switch, and this is a great time for me to go right back into Chimecho, who can pretty much freely get up another light screen here, which I really do need. So I'm going to go ahead and freely get that up, which is going to hang around for a while, because I do have the Light Clay item, as this thing is going to hit me with a Toxic, which is fine, because Chimecho doesn't really have to do a whole lot here. And I guess, well, he wouldn't have been able to do too much damage with an Ice Beam anyway, so I guess the Toxic was the better play there. I don't really need to go for a Reflect, because like I said, there's no really threatening physical attackers, and I'm just going to go ahead and switch directly out here. I decide to bring in the fucking beast herself, the Bellossom. So here's when things get real with the Bellossom. I figure this is a great opportunity for me to set up against this Regice. I know that after I get a Quiver Dance, especially behind that light screen, I can take Ice Beams for days, and there's a good chance that this thing's going to get fully parried. So the only bad thing is I'm going to need a whole lot of Quiver Dances to be able to knock this thing out with a Giga Drain. So I go for 1, and his Ice Beam is going to fortunately not do too much to me. So I'm over here hula dancing, doing my fucking thing, and I'm just going to go for another Quiver Dance, because I figure I'm going to need like at least 3 of these to be able to do some damage to this thing, and also be able to outspeed that Haunter that he's still got in the back of his team. So there I get a full para, which is awesome. Bellossom doesn't really care about taking Ice Beams at this point anyway, especially with another Quiver Dance under my belt. So I'm just going to go for another one. We're having a fucking dance party over here, and Bellossom is ready to tear through the team here. So I'm at +3 at this point, and the Toxic actually ends up missing, which is kind of just icing on the cake. So I guess it wouldn't really matter, because he only has 3 Pokemon left, and it's looking like the Toxic probably wouldn't be able to hang around enough to really stack up. So I go for the Giga Drain now, and look at that massive damage on the Pokemon with the highest special defense in the tier. I'm able to almost knock it out in 1 hit. And the full para actually comes in clutch there yet again. So I'm feeling comfortable with just 3 Quiver Dances. I know that that's pretty much enough to outspeed the rest of the team, and it should be enough to take care of that Haunter. So down goes the Regice. I just killed that thing with a tiny ass little flower, a big fucking iceberg. That thing was enough to sink the Titanic, but not enough to sink the Bellossom. So in comes Baby Nappy. And I am going to be able to be faster here, because I danced my little heart out, and a Giga Drain, to my surprise, actually ends up knocking that thing out as well. So down goes the Haunter, and Bellossom is taking names right now. I never thought I'd see the day where I'd be able to get a Bellossom sweep. So the last Pokemon is going to be the Torterra. So LeBron James comes in, and he is going to go ahead and catch these hands with a Giga Drain. So that is going to definitely knock out the old Tree Turtle, and that is going to be the end of the match there. So Bellossom came in clutch. Who would have thought I would be able to set up so effectively against a Regice? But I did say in a previous battle that I would get Bellossom to do something, and you bet your ass I did. So thank you guys for watching. Go ahead and hit that like button on this video if you enjoyed, and as always, don't forget to subscribe for some more Wi-Fi battles. Also guys, if you do have any Pokemon that you would like to see me kind of do some work with, go ahead and leave some suggestions in the comments. I will be most likely building some new kind of shenanigan teams just to have some fun with, because I've been having some interesting battles lately with all these random Pokemon. So yeah, peace out guys.